morning and welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg and it is the 21st day of June 2024. Welcome to our show today. And I'm waiting to see if Darrell joins this morning. But in the meantime, we have Off the Grid with Dr. David Kent, Karen the Riveter, Ralph the IT guy. And after this, we have a panel that kind of came together at Turning Point USA, which is kind of exciting, of citizen journalists. And I really love these people. We got a chance to sit down with everybody and spend some time. I shared the wall with one of them. It was great. And so just so you know, I think they're going to be on at 10 o'clock, and we'll start talking about what it is to be a citizen journalist, and that we are, in fact, real news fighting the fake news. So here we go. Morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And last but not least, Karen. So how you guys doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. I wanted to show you something last night. I went to, let's see. Went to the wrong screen. Let me see if I can move this around here a minute. Only 4 screens going on right now. So last night I had the privilege of going to see the governor of North Dakota, and it was kind of a small group of us. There were only about 20 of us there maximum, and I love this guy. His name is Doug Berman, and let's see if I got his name spelled right. Yeah, Burgum, Burgum, and I absolutely love this guy. He is. I took some videos of him, and he could have run for a 3rd term, but decided not to support the rightful president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump. And his wife is just a doll. I'll post some of the stuff. I might do it while we're online. But it was a really interesting meeting. We were at Terry Lynn Land's place in that's where we were. And I got to tell you, he really is very inspiring, and he's kind of got a really good grasp on what's happening in the United States. It's amazing. So anyhow, I wanted to share that with you. And then after that, let's see if I can go back here. I went to the Republican meeting at Uccello's. And that was also very interesting. Jesse Waters had us all on. So it was kind of a media event to see Doug there. And I am right there, little tiny me right there in the back. But anyhow, and there's Doug right there. We were at Uccello's. And so kind of an interesting little group of people. Met a couple of people there that I really liked. Of course, we were with Terry, and that was kind of fun. So I'll post more on that. But I really thought I met a couple of people there that I really liked a lot. Gal named Kelly Mitchell, and she was kind of very involved in the Republican Party in the past. And I got to tell you, I've got quite a few questions in some of the people that are in the Republican Party now, as opposed to the ones that were in it like years and years and years ago. So, but it's interesting, kind of like sorting through the who's who in the zoo situation that's going on there. So just so you know, nothing is really as it seems. So when you go to these events, I talk to everyone. I get absolutely criticized for talking to everyone all the time, but so be it. Suck it up. I'm going to talk to everyone because I'm trying to sort through who's an operative, who's for real, and who actually cares about the nation. And it's a little bit of a mix. So anyhow, with that said, Karen, you were doing some work yesterday because we had some information on a gentleman within the Republican Party, Neil Frisky, who apparently was arrested. There were a couple of arrests yesterday. I'm waiting for the second one to sort out. It's somebody I know fairly well, and not everything is it seems, but I'm waiting to see. I talk to everyone, and I back away from the crazy people when crazy things happen. So, but But
sometimes too, you got to keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
what's that?
Sometimes you got to keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
That's exactly what it is, because you really don't know always who you're talking to until they prove themselves out. And when you see that there's someone who is probably a plant from, I don't know, say maybe the criminal cabal here, the oligarchs in the state of Michigan, because I'm going to tell you right now, I think that the head of the snake is right here in Michigan. I really do.
The head of all of it?
What's that?
The head of all of it for the U.S.?
I think that there's so many global connections here. The money is from Grand Rapids. It's from Michigan. And you can start seeing this thing shape up. I'm going to tell you that right now is that when you start really connecting the dots from Fox Island, Interlaken, Epstein, I'm going to post a picture here of Epstein was in fact, let me do that right now. Epstein was involved in Interlaken. How many kids were trafficked through there? The Fox Island connection to Ann Arbor, the University of Michigan. The connections in the state of Michigan are undeniable. When you get up there in Charlevoix and see, what was the little girl, Jean Benet Ramsey, that is up there. There are so many connections up there in the Charlevoix, Petoskey, Bay Harbor area. It is undeniable. And then you've got Fox Island right off the coast there, and they were tied into a bunch of murders of some young boys in Detroit. And then you look at the Interlaken connection. Let me throw this picture up here just to shock everybody. I'm going to put this together because I like to do these deep digs on things. And I put something up this week. It was a whole research thread having to do with the fact that the Ford Museum in Grand Rapids, it's not a Ford Museum, it's the Kissinger Museum. If you really open your eyes and see what's going on there. And I connected the lamps in Q, the two lamps in Q, the Q post, to what's going on with the Kennedys and how Robert Kennedy said you hang a lantern around the necks of your enemies, basically. I didn't quote that perfectly, but that's true. And then see the lanterns that have been given out to the ones who probably are, in fact, in the group and associated with a group that murdered all the Kennedys. And you can see it when you look at Caroline's face too. But it's on my Telegram channel. I put it together a couple of days ago, and you're going to maybe be a little bit shocked. But let me show you the picture of Epstein and Interlaken. There's some really weird connections with the past of Interlaken and criminal activities. Not to say everyone's involved in it, but people infiltrate. When you look at this photo here of, and I really like, I'm not pointing anybody out, but I can spot a couple of them in there that I know are operatives just because they lied, flat out lied to Donna Brandenburg, and they got caught. They got caught in their lies. But that's not to say everybody in here is a bad person. You have to sort through until you get to the truth. So let me take this one down, and I'm going to go to the next one. It's kind of a damning post, quite honestly. Let's see if we update here. Oh, I put the wrong one up. Hang on. That's not the one I want to see. Where did I put it? Hang on a minute. You guys got to bear with me a minute because this is kind of interesting. It's super, super interesting in my opinion. I know where it is. Email it to myself.
Well, Michigan's got all kinds of waterways, which ties in pretty well with Look to the Water.
Yep, that's exactly it. And the DNR, who's got control of the water. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe one word coming out of the DNR and I mean at all. Not with what I saw up at Camp Grayling. It's very concerning. And then I found 32 offices, satellite offices for the group who was doing DK security, that was doing the security up at Camp Grayling. Sorry guys, I'm not buying any of this bullshit. And that's exactly what it is. So that is Epstein right there, 1967, 0506A High School Boys Cabin 1, Jeffrey Epstein, first on the top right there at Interlaken Center for the Arts, summer of 1967. And there is more to this. There's way more to this. And so when you look at stuff like this, there's a lot of questions that need to be asked and answered with associations. I want to try to figure who all these other people are in this too, because I think we might find some pretty crazy connections there. But one other thing that I noticed with this photo of the people here, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you notice the difference between the build of Epstein over here and the rest of the guys here, you're going to pick it out too, David. I'm sure you will immediately. What doesn't belong there? He looks like he's much older than the rest of the guys in here. He's not built. These guys are still like puppies. These are still like puppies. This guy is built like he's much older than the rest of the people in the picture. And so I'm calling bullshit on this whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he looks 17, 18. The other ones look much younger. Much younger. And when you see some of the connections that happened with Interlaken, as well as, and I'm not saying that everybody there is bad, nor am I saying everybody in the Republican Party of the state of Michigan is bad. But what you have to realize is that this is all about infiltration. These criminals that are there who are basically, well, they're not basically, they're flat ass out Satanists. Okay, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry if that offends people. But it's time to grow up here and look at the realities that we're facing, because we're losing our nation and people aren't taking this seriously. I'm having some problems right now watching the play mentality of people everywhere. They want to play full time instead of taking this seriously. They're running around like a bunch of kids wanting to play and be on, oh, I don't know. They want to spend their time partying on boats and on this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am completely and utterly disgusted with this mentality. Totally. Every minute we waste, when we're going to be called accountable for the time that we put in different things. We just are in front of God. Every minute we waste is a minute that we can be putting into something that's serious, into taking this nation back and saving the children and such. And I personally don't understand this mentality. I can't see how we can be playing all the time instead of working to take the nation back. I don't get it. I never will. Yeah, I think they're like paid operatives to just disrupt and keep everyone confused.
I think so too.
Knowingly or unknowingly.
Knowingly or unknowingly. There you go. So what else do you guys have to say about this? I thought that was interesting. And then did you put something on your channel, Karen, about the Frisky thing? Because you're calling it suspect just like I am. There's something wrong with it.
Yeah, it happened night before last between 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Interestingly to me, most of the Michigan news outlets that I saw were sharing the same kind of stuff. You know, who is he as a rep and what kind of political association does he have? But they were just saying there was a report of possible shots fired or a man with a gun, and we don't know what else. And there was a statement on his Facebook page that his quote-unquote frisk team had put out, and they're not sharing any answers, but they talk about his Second Amendment right. And I'm like, okay, so what is he doing out in the middle of the street, or where was he? There's not much detail to it, except I found an article from the UK, the Daily Mail article, which said that he was allegedly chasing a woman who worked at a location that I did a little investigating. It was about 4 miles from where he was arrested. So she's a stripper or not, I don't know for sure, but he had some kind of altercation with this woman and got arrested for some felony level offense. But it's unclear. And he's supposed to be arraigned maybe today, and so maybe we'll get some more details. But it's also interesting because some of them are like, he's very conservative. And his Facebook page is like, well, this is interesting because it happened right before absentee ballots are sent and blah, blah, blah. It reminds me of Ryan Kelly. Well, Ryan Kelly had his home invaded by the FBI, and well, that means that he's a good guy, right? No, not necessarily. But I'm withholding judgment on this guy because he might have been absolutely right on his voting record. Just because a bill says it's against AI being used in porn doesn't mean there's something else snuck in there that he was right to neglect or vote against. We also don't know what happened on that night. Maybe he, because it happened not far from his house, maybe he was out for a legitimate reason and had nothing to do with this stripper club, and they're trying to ruin his reputation. We just don't know.
We don't know anything, and I think that that's a really smart thing to take a pause on and not jump on this, because these people are willing to destroy other people in order to stay in power. So I'm not willing to jump on this at all. They could have had that stripper there just to to nail him in some way. And he might be guilty. We don't know. But I guess the first thing is we've got to assume he's innocent until proven guilty. And even then, look at what they've done to President Trump. This is really, really this is interesting. So I'm looking at your post in the private chat here, David. Doug Burgum, he created the contact tracing app for COVID Red Flag, and he's a close partner to globalist Bill Gates, and he sold out Fargo, North Dakota to the Chinese. Are you serious?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's another article down there, actually from him, expediting the sale of land to the Chinese.
Wow.
He's a bad guy. Tori's talked about him many, many times. He's a very bad guy, and I have no idea why Trump is promoting him. If it's really him.
There you go. That's what it is. That's what it is. I really like I said, I really like him personally, but you have to dig into people.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot.
And and so you don't know. So Burgum urges federal agency to expedite review of
some Chinese purchase land around our U.S. bases.
Wow.
Tori says they invade the United States, China, they're going to come in through the north, through North Dakota, because he's cut deals with them. And I don't know. Trump must know this stuff because it's all over. I mean, it's all over Telegram when Trump started bringing him on stage. Everybody looked into him, and he's like bad news, and he's very charismatic. I've seen interviews with him talking, and he's very charismatic. He seems like the perfect guy, but like you said, you just can't trust anything without researching it yourself.
He's a real personable guy, and he basically said that he wasn't I'll post the videos on it. You guys I'm just going to post everything, and then you guys make up your minds on what you think, and then maybe, like this, I think this is great, because if you're throwing stuff out there and everybody else throws stuff out there and says, whoa, time out, Brandenburg, let's take a look at this. Like I said, I go and I talk to everyone, and then the truth always comes out. It always comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see Marco Rubio was involved in that too.
Another bad guy.
Well, Janet, yeah.
That first thing that I posted, what we were talking about, if you're going to talk about that later today, I think this interview is this video, this YouTube video, the top thing I posted.
Yeah.
Shows the power, the technology that is out there that we don't know about. We're literally 50 to 100 years behind the true technology, what we know. This is a hologram interview, and it shows you how President Trump can look like he's somewhere, and he's not really there. None of these people can be. I mean, this is Obama and Oprah as a whole. They're just, it looks like they're together.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start posting some of these links a minute, so that I posted on my, I decided, I've been doing this where I'm posting links on my Telegram channel, so that if people want to see them, you can go to at Brandenburg, BRANDENBURG, the number 4MI. So which one? There's a ton of videos there.
The thing I posted at the very top, here's an example of holograms.
In the chat.
In the chat.
I see that. But I'm looking at a ton of videos. Is there one video or is it tons?
Oh, is there more than one video on that?
Yeah, there's one. You posted over.
Okay. Oprah.
See if you can find the these individual one. Now, I absolutely believe that they can manipulate what we're seeing to the point of when you look online, you're looking at CG. They've got silicone. The silicone masks, they've got doubles, they've got all kinds of things, and we can go to that. If you guys want to talk about Turning Point USA, I'm sure everybody's going to be horrified by this, but I've said it before. I've been to Mar-a-Lago 3 times, as well as a couple of other places where President Trump was, and I got some real questions, guys, and this goes back to the Q post. That when they said that he is being protected, President Trump is being protected, there is no way I believe that he's out in the public. No possible way. And when you see somebody who's approximately 5 inches shorter than what President Trump should be, and I've got pictures of it to prove it, because you can prove the height disparity there. Sorry, it's not him. And furthermore, I'll let you talk to this, Ralph, but the differences in the speech, they can't completely do if you're really sharp, you're going to pick out the disparities, and you're going to pick out the things that just don't fit, right? Like the rhotic accent. Go ahead and talk with that, and I'm going to try to get. Did you find the single? Oh, there. I'll put this up. Can you talk about the rhotic thing, if you would mind, Ralph?
Sure. Did you want to do that video first or not?
Yeah, let me see if I get the video on. And then I think this is really important, because you know what? The thing of it is that everybody's trying to put their trust in a person, a person. That's idolatry. It's idolatry. And you know what? President Trump, God bless him. I love him. I support him. I will be voting for him. In fact, at Turning Point, I bought hats. All right. I bought hats to everybody's horror. I've got 3 hats. There's one. And I'm going to change my hats.
I love that one.
This is my favorite hat. Check this out.
I like that.
Shout out to, American Patriot hats. Go buy one.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool? So my buddy Biscuit was there. He sells them, and he's great. So let's look at this, because they have deep fakes that they can do. We have deep fakes. We have body doubles. We have silicone masks. We got all kinds of crap happening out there. You don't think for a minute that any of us know what's happening here. Yeah. So, because we don't.
Can she see me yet?
I can.
This is pretty cool technology you got here. So let me try to. We're playing footsies. We should have done this.
Walking behind them, in front of them.
Sitting on like Neptune in a bubble. Hey, what have you been doing for fun?
I have not left home since March 8th.
At all?
I went to an eye doctor's appointment because I could no longer fix my eye infection on telemedicine, and then I went for a mammogram.
Yeah, I asked, what did you do for fun? Eye doctors and mammograms do not qualify. I have never had a mammogram myself,
okay, so for fun.
but it doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, there you go. There's so much of that out there that when you do diagnostics on videos too, you can peel the layers off and show exactly what's happening. And all of us have seen enough videos of the traitor in chief that's sitting in the White House right now, a foreign actor who shouldn't be there because he's a foreign actor at this point in time. With the microphone, his hands over the microphones and such, not buying guys, not doing it at all.
So yeah, turning point. I would say, because I listened to supposed President Trump's speech at the event there. I listened to that, and I'm not buying that either. There's a lot that they can do to fake visuals, but they're not very good at live faking someone's speech patterns.
They can't, and a human being can't hold it character together for more than 15 minutes if they're really good. But the speech patterns are a killer.
Yep, and that one was one that I'm not buying that one either. I think you're dead on that. He's that they would not risk putting the real President Trump out there in the public right now after what I heard there, because there were several things about that they did a good enough job to fool most people, and whoever did it has definitely practiced a lot. But there were a few things that a few times that he slipped up and it did not sound right. Like you were saying, the rhotic accent was one that was pretty clear in there, in that he used well, you got a video there. That'd be a good one to kind of.
Let's go this. I just pulled this video up and I found this, and I actually like the accent help because it goes through many accents and this guy gives examples. But listen.
Hey there, Jim Johnson for AccentHelp.com, and I want to talk about rhoticity. All right, so accents are usually subdivided into rhotic or non-rhotic. What rhotic means, or rhoticity means, is R-ness. Is there basically an R sound that exists in there? Now, there's a whole bunch of different R symbols in the phonetic alphabet. The one that we're actually going to focus on is really this little diacritic right there that I'm doing a little bit of a simplified version of, which is called rhoticity. So you're adding rhoticity to this schwa sound, so it becomes more like as in other, Now, in some accents, when this R-ness gets dropped, other, that becomes a non-rhotic accent. When the R is on there, as in my own speech, that's called a rhotic accent. Other, Some people make the R's even harder, and some people make the R's go away completely. So a lot of Southern accents in the States, for example, tend to have a slightly harder R that happens, a hard tongue bunching, the tongue pulling back and bunching up to make that R a little bit stronger. In general, another funky thing Americans tend to do is that we tend to take our R sounds in general, the various ones, and we tend to round them slightly. So we add a little bit of rounding to them. Red, which doesn't happen as much in many other cultures. Red. That rounding is more American. So when you drop the R, that's called non-rhotic. Most of America is rhotic, but when you get into certain parts of like New England, non-rhotic.
Okay, I'm going to stop so we don't get a strike here from YouTube. But
Yep.
I think
good explanation of it, though, because if you listen to the rhoticity of different accents, that's one of the stronger characteristics of different regional accents is how they pronounce their R's.
And where it falls in the sentence, correct?
Yep. For example, there was an instance where to back up a little bit, one of the better examples of a really, really strong rhotic accent is if you listen to Jim Henson. Pretty much any of the characters that he played have extraordinarily hard R's. And then you get into, like you said, up into New England, they tend to be a far less rhotic accent. And true President Trump's accent tends to be more on the side of, it tends to be rhotic in the middle of words and then non-rhotic at the ends of words. And in the case of, this is really getting into pretty detailed stuff here, I guess. But if you listen to that interview, there were a few sections where there were words that ended rhotic that President Trump does not usually pronounce with a rhotic R at the end.
You're fired.
Yep. And that was another one too, where during that speech, fire and how you pronounce the word fire is actually another very strong regional thing, whether it's one syllable or two. And generally, actual President Trump pronounces fire or fired not as two syllables. It's fired or fire. More like that. I can't even do the accent properly myself, but it's generally one syllable, whereas during that speech it was very, very strongly two syllable fired. There's a lot of little things like that if you are used to listening to actual President Trump's speeches and you know just a little bit about linguistics, most people can't hold, even people that have been with an accent coach for quite a while can't hold an accent that they're putting on, a non-native accent. They can't hold that for a long period of time without slipping up.
Okay, I'm gonna just to give a shout out here to Jim Henson. Let's see if we can get him on here, or we can hear. He's got a puppet.
Listen to like Kermit or Rolf.
Okay, so
it's like catastrophe music. It's a towering inferno with bongo drums.
You get a lot of chicks now that, most rock stars have the groupies now that you're a big star. Does that
being a puppet, it's sort of different. The head of my fan club is Nan Gora Sweater.
Yeah, but you listen to that, and like anytime Jim Henson pronounces his R's, he almost swallows his R's.
with Dr. Teeth?
Well, let's see. Shall I answer that?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
he's trying to do a non-rhotic with that puppet, but when you listen to him talk himself, you can hear the rhotic.
Yep.
You got sort of an unusual lineup of characters. We've got the homicidal maniac and the San Francisco earthquake. We've got Mount Rushmore and the Seven Deadly Sins.
Mount Rushmore, the Seven Deadly Sins.
So that's fun. Here, I didn't put him up on screen. Sorry, guys.
Did you?
Fantastic.
Yeah, great.
In my group, which is the Electric Mayhem.
Did you start this as a kid? Fooling around with puppets?
Well, I started sort of just out of
I started this.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep. A Canadian accent a lot of times is very, very rhotic. And Michigan accents tend to be very rhotic as well. And I've even heard Brits kind of making fun of the American accent by over-pronouncing rhoticity, and it is hilarious to listen to. Because it's like, oh yeah, yep, we do that. That's fair. We talk like that. And that's also one of the ways too that you can distinguish several of the Asian languages is by the way they pronounce their R's and L's, because certain of the East Asian languages have an R sound, and some of them don't distinguish between an R and an L sound. And depending on how they pronounce that, sometimes you can tell their source language or their native language, as well as what English accent person they learned English from, which can be kind of an interesting study in linguistics.
Well, it's just like Spanish. Spanish has got like a million different accents. You know, you go, some of it's, if you're going to say I, it's yo, Joe, you know, all kinds of, it changes, right?
Oh, and having learned some Spanish from
An
some of
Argentinian.
yeah, you listen to like actual Spanish and how they speak with almost, it's kind of more of a lisp, and it is so off-putting to a certain extent, or not necessarily in a bad way, but just it's so different. It's like a little bit mind-bending listening to it, because it's like, okay, I know all those words, but that doesn't sound anything like how I'd pronounce them.
It's like Puerto Rico too. I've been to Puerto Rico, and we were in a car, and this guy was trying to get us to go to the car jacks. I'm like, car jacks? Why would we want to go to somewhere where there's car jacks, right? Took me a while to figure out he meant kayaks. I'm like, we're gonna die. We're gonna die.
Well, I'm thinking when you were talking about people, Chinese having a struggle with, or just Asian, I don't remember, L's and R's. I'm remembering the Christmas Story scene where they go to the Chinese restaurant and they're singing rah 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 rah.
Yeah, I've tended to find that people that are native Chinese speakers tend to be the ones that are able to pronounce a rhotic hard R, because they have a sound in Chinese that's very similar to a hard R in English. Japanese doesn't have anything quite like that. Their R sound is actually somewhere kind of between an R, an L, and a D. It's closer to it's actually closer to another sound that's in Spanish than it is to anything in English.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one way to tell things apart. Another thing that I would say you might want to listen to in that speech from supposed President Trump is how he pronounces his S sounds. His S sounds are shifted more toward a CH sound, and his CH sounds are actually shifted a little bit more like an SH sound. There's it. It sounds like someone that is wearing either something that covers the palate on the top of the mouth. That being either, fake teeth, or you hear that sound out of people with like an expander if they have braces, where it interferes with the tongue's ability to contact the palate on the top of the mouth. So, and there were a couple of times too where he dropped vocal fry, and you could hear his kind of unfried vocal sound, and it sounds. There were a lot of quirks to that were like, boy, as good as they are at faking visuals, they're struggling. They're clearly struggling a little bit with the audio here.
Well, I hate to say it, but they're having a struggle doing faking visuals too. So
inflation is raging. Europe is in chaos. The Middle East is exploding. Iran is emboldened. China is on the march.
Iran is.
And the worst, most incompetent person to ever lead this country is dragging us toward World War III.
Reagan.
Other than that, I think he's doing a very good job. Do we agree, sir? Other than that, he's doing a fine job. No, he's the worst. Under Biden, illegal aliens are better off. Terrorists are better off. China is better off. Russia is better off. The cartels are better off. But the American people were far better off under a gentleman named...
Did you hear China? He said China.
And then he pronounced cartels with the R less rhotic when it was in the middle. He pronounced Russia with a very hard rhotic R. And that's pretty consistent. That's not out of character for actual President Trump. But that's the kind of thing to listen for.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because it's not a bad thing. I think it's actually a very good thing that if they're protecting him and
whoever's playing the part is putting himself at great risk, as a protection thing. So I have no no disrespect by this. That's something that it's a tough job to do, both to be able to act in that capacity and to be a close enough fake to be able to fool
it off.
people. And then also to be brave enough to put yourself at that kind of risk.
Yeah, huge. There's huge risk to being a double for someone for their protection. I mean, it's just huge. So we can all be. So going back to something you said this morning about doubles, Karen. Karen had a dream last night. It was a nightmare.
No, I think it was funny. In a dream, I was rolling my eyes.
Do you want to elaborate, or is it too silly to be on camera for?
No, I can tell you. So I had a dream that I was with Donna, and I left the room. She was getting ready to go somewhere to do some kind of event, and I came back in the room, and she was replaced with some other woman, and it was the actress. I want to say it's Holly Hunt, but might not have the name right. I see her as like the redhead girl in the Dumb and Dumber movie. So she's got that red hair, and the style was a little different, but it was definitely like down to the shoulders almost. It was a little longer. It was not Donna's hair.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at her like, that's not gonna work. And it was like they were trying to trick me into believing that it was you, and she was going to go and serve in this capacity as your double at this event. And I'm like, no, not gonna work. Because if I can tell, I'm sure a bunch of other people can tell. This woman doesn't look anything like Donna. And it wasn't like, I mean, if somebody else replaced you like that, I'd be like, what the heck is going on? It'd be like, tell me the truth and tell me now. Who do you work for?
Where's Donna? What have you done with her?
Exactly. But in my dream, I was just looking at her like, yeah, no.
So I'm thinking here too, as we're talking about this, do you want to maybe pull up the Michigan accent guide?
I can, but hang on a minute. Dr. David just posted this. I'm going to put this up here a minute. We'll go back to the hologram. All right. What's happening here? It's holoportation. I've seen these before. This is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. And that's what they're using.
Yeah, I know a guy that sent me something on embodied AI. And this is this has been out for a while. Embodied AI is really crazy. And I came across that at, it was a Turning Point event down in West Palm a while back. And it's this crazy stuff. I wish that this wasn't dark here, but so be it.
I don't know why it's not doing that on my screen, but it's really crazy. There's a great video, but I can't find it, of them setting it up, just bringing this box into a room and the guy's in a different room or different state, and he literally looks like he's right there. You could not tell.
Well, I typically think that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing on stage and such too, I think it's embodied AI. I really do.
Oh yeah.
Because when you look at, or robots or something, I don't know, when you look at their hands, they've gotten a little bit better at it, but they can't fake. That's another thing, they have trouble faking his hands.
Yeah.
Terrible time faking hands. So when you watch them, they go with this, and they come back, and they'll come back, and they'll hit the same exact spot every time. People don't do that. We're all over the place, right? We don't have that precision, but it takes up too much processing power to do it without, as a robot. And I do believe that they're doing that, actually. So, okay. So where did you want me to go, Ralphie?
First let's pull up the Liddy Hollow one, because this is something that I've been looking at buying one of these for quite a while, because this is pretty cool technology. This allows just the average person to be able to print their own 3D holograms.
Wow.
And this is a really cool technology.
Yeah, we're really getting off the grid today, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, today instead of off the grid, it's off the topic again.
Yeah. Okay. Lets you print your own holograms. Cool.
Oh, neat.
So if you scroll down a little bit, it shows you kind of how, like an example of what they look like.
Wow.
Some of those should be moving. Yeah, there's one that's moving down below it. Because the idea with a hologram is that you're actually capturing not just the information about how much light hits a pixel on a sensor, but you're capturing the way that the light interferes with itself. So you're more capturing like all of the viewpoints within that area. You're capturing a lot more information about the light than just the intensity of the light. And that lets you, look around an object as if you're looking through a window. And with this being printable, it's also it can also be animated.
That's neat. How much are those things?
They're not cheap, but they're cheaper than a lot of the other options.
Oh, they're not available.
$3,500. Okay, and let's pull up the next one and we'll talk about Michigan, our accent, because we're a mess, guys. This is why it's funny, because I don't know about you, but I love being from Michigan. And I'll tell you that right now is that we all have a speech pattern. When I first started running for governor, they're like, you can't say that, And I'm like, that's what we say in Michigan, It's like I'm not changing how I talk. If people don't like listening to Michigan, then
what is it that they said you can't say?
Everybody from Michigan says all the time. We say,
Yeah.
And then once it's just sort of like it's just an ending to a sentence, something like that. Yeah. And if you start paying attention to it, you will actually see how many times a person from Michigan says,
Really? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's like an A.
Sure, I do it all the time.
It's like the UP. Everybody goes A, that sort of thing. But the Lower Peninsula, everybody's like, and that's what we do. But it's a speech pattern here. And I said, no, I'm not interested in being somebody else. And so this is just the way it is. Either they like me for who I am, or they can find somebody else to fill the office, because it's just the way it is, So,
and I don't know if you commented earlier this week on that new law that they passed about questioning voting in Michigan.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm questioning a lot of this stuff because I think it's actually pointing to what's wrong, rather than, it's like sort of like, yes, there you go. Now you guys
so obvious. It's so obvious to people.
Yeah, and I think they need to show people what's really, really going on. Mm-hmm. And the whole pushing people to a point of either breaking or showing them how off base this is getting. I can't possibly think that some of this is for real. So, and I think that it's waking people up how bad, because just like sometimes you got to show people, and some of it I think is created. I would like to sit here and lie to everybody and say I don't believe that, but there's so much out there that we have to question, and just not play along to go along to get along. I kind of got my fill of it in the last 2 weeks. Really got my fill of the play, let's go play, because we're not taking any of this serious.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. It's like, I don't even want to stand with somebody right now that's not willing to put it all on the line and run like hell into the fire to fix what's wrong, because people are treating this like this is just like, it doesn't really matter. And, you hear people that are going to vote, they're not going to vote. It's like, I don't care what you think right now. Honestly, anybody, and this is Donna Brandenburg as an American, I really don't give a crap what anybody thinks. The law and the duty is to get out there and vote. No matter what the outcome we think it's going to be, we still have to do our jobs and do the right thing. So everybody needs to go out there. I don't care if you don't think it's going to count. I don't think it's really going to count either, as long as we have the electronic machines. That is the kingpin of all issues right there. They're cheating this at the Microsoft level, the operating system level, and no matter how much personal effort we put into this, it's probably going to be a problem. However, with that said, every single person has the duty to vote. So this is where we go back to our faith in God. We don't have to see the end. When I got on here to do a BNN or run for governor or anything like that, I had no assurances, and I lost a lot of money during this, because you know what? I didn't have a lot of people. I didn't have anybody behind me that had big money, and I wouldn't have taken it anyway, because I'm not a puppet. And I made it real clear at the beginning. Nobody's going to tell me what to say or do. I'm not going to play that game. Either they like me for who I am. I'm not going to change the message just to pander to people. I'm going to tell the truth. And I stayed with this. But with that said, is that we don't have any guarantees on anything in life. Doesn't matter what it is. The reality is either you trust God and you step out in faith, or hang it up, because he will take our efforts and he will bring it to the direction he wants it to go, as long as we do our job. But we have to do it in faith. So, I started BNN. I still don't know if we've got 2 bullfrogs and a cricket listening to this most of the time. I watched some of it, and we've done some of the stuff, but it wouldn't have changed what I'm doing, because I knew this is what God wanted me to do, regardless of the outcome. And it's the same thing with voting. We have to step out in faith that God is going to fix this, instead of just going, well, I don't know. That is the biggest slap in God's face, to say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sit down because it doesn't matter anyway. Well, it doesn't matter, because it's based on our faith. The faith isn't in the system. The faith isn't in President Donald Trump, the rightful president of the United States, whom I am voting for. It doesn't matter. The faith is in God. It's his plan. And we don't step away from that. I heard the excuse from at least a third to a half of the sheriffs in the state. Why didn't you arrest Whitmer? Well, who's going to prosecute it? I don't really care. You didn't do your job. You stood down and you failed.
Yep. So many of them. They're cowards.
They're cowards.
They're part of it too.
And they give up. They're quitters. They're cowards. And they're not willing to take this to the end. And I really don't care who I'm pissing off right now.
Good. You know, that's one thing I love about you from the day I met you years ago. I mean, you're standing there at gun shows, just trying to spread the word. You were everywhere, and and maybe you get 1 or 2 people listening. You got to be concerned about people that all of a sudden have 50,000 followers, on X or True Social. Those are the ones that are bought and paid for.
You bet they are.
You did this all on your own. Didn't take any money from anyone, and don't have an agenda other than saving the country.
I took small donations from people who actually supported me. And but no
You
patent.
didn't take millions. You didn't sign NDAs on what you're allowed to talk about, what you're not allowed to talk about. Like,
I wouldn't.
All these podcasters out there are just, they're bought and paid for, and they just sow confusion and make people want to not vote. They make you want to just give up, sound hopeless, because it's just so confusing, instead of just focusing on whatever the problem is and the solution. We have to vote no matter what, because then you're just quitting and giving up if you're not voting.
Right. Well, I had a gal that I interviewed with at Turning Point, and she just about died because I didn't parrot the narrative. She said, "What do you think? Do the votes count? Will our votes count in this next election? And in light of the electronic machines?" And I said, "Well, in the next election." And I said, "As long as the electronic machines are there, they're not going to count. It is." And she just was like, because it was live, and I said it. So she started trying to talk over me to try to take this away. And she would, and I said, "Well, wait a minute, let me finish my point here," because she was in panic mode. I said, "As long as we have the electronic machines, we will not know if we have an honest election."
Right.
Flat out. That's the way it is, because they're flipping this at the operating level, and nobody's talking about this on how they publish the source code. Everybody's got a backdoor into this stuff. But I said, with that said, we can possibly overwhelm them with numbers so that they can't cheat enough to rig the election. That's one possibility. And the other one is that I really don't care. It doesn't take away our duty to vote just because we have a belief that because that belief right now can be hijacked with a bunch of really bad people. And so we need to get in there and have a little faith in God and say, you know what? I don't care what the odds are. I don't care what the odds are. God loves bad odds. Let's get in there and do it, because the odds don't matter when God's involved. He can overwhelm and change everything. And I think there's some really good people working behind the scenes that are not going to watch this nation be taken down.
Yeah.
That's what I have the faith in, is that God's going to call his people, the good people, to stand up and do the right thing.
I think Trump is a very smart person. He went into this. He knows what's going on. He knew that they cheated. The machines are rigged. He created Space Force. There's just so many things to say that Trump's just not stupid and he just let them cheat. There's some sort of plan here, and we all have to do our part. And I personally feel like it's coming down to the wire. I mean, it's getting close. And if these globalist controllers and stuff, they're not going to give up. They're going to, as they say, scorch the earth. And that's kind of why we started this Friday morning thing, is talking about what happens if they start scorching the earth and turn off the power and, starve us out.
The Brandenburg chicken revolution is going well right now, by the way. We've got more people that are doing backyard chickening, so we got to take care of ourselves.
Chickening.
That's great. If we can save one person, save one person's life because they prepared, and that'd be awesome.
Isn't that what Jesus did?
Our part. Yeah. That's
what Jesus did. Jesus went to people one at a time. He could have changed the whole world with a snap of his finger, in a blink of an eye. But he went to each individual people, and he would go specifically to individuals. Now think about this. If there's all of us out there who are believers, that are believers, I'm not even going to say the word Christian anymore, because there's so many fake Christians out there that will lay down whatever we need to help another person. We put our schedules away, we put our time away, whatever. That's what Jesus would do.
Yeah.
So do we want to go back to this? I've got the other panelists. I can see you in the backdrop there. I can see Christina and Hollis and Dan and Casey and such. And so hang on a minute. Do you want to go over the Michigan accent now, so that nobody's in the dark here about why we're so screwed up in the way we talk?
Hey.
Okay.
I'm a former Toastmaster, so I'm perfect,
Yeah.
Okay.
We know, because
we're from Michigan, So So
I tell you what, though, Toastmasters does help a lot with the extra words, like that.
Okay,
The
so
ums and the ahs and the okays and the you knows. That's why those things drive me crazy now, because we would keep a tally when someone was speaking, how many of those things they were doing, and give them that feedback. And you could see people changing over time by practice. And Toastmasters provided a nice, positive feedback way to do that.
yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read this. Okay. I'm going to read this here as a native Michigander who's 60 years old. So I've had a lot of time to practice, lot of time to practice. Okay. Idiosyncrasies and patterns. Let me tell you, it's damn cold in Michigan, so you got to conserve energy. Consequently, the right way to speak Michigan is talk fast, blur your words together, and clip all your hard consonants like T. It says, it's called a glottal stop. Okay, I'm going to give you a classic word that everybody screws up in the state of Michigan. When you say, the normal person says THUNDERSTORM. A normal person says thunderstorm. In Michigan, we say thunderstorm. All right, that's just the way it is. We screw everything up. We say it fast. You know why we say it fast? Because it's so damn cold in Michigan, our lips will freeze together if we don't get it out quick.
People in the South are so slow.
Okay, so think about it. We rarely, if ever, make the t sound of T. We just finish the word that ends in T. We don't say the T. Instead, we just kind of stop the word. So don't say your T's and you sound like you're from Michigan, right? Somebody throw a word out there that's out here right now, and we'll.
Well, like he's got as an example there, apartment.
Apartment. Yeah, we don't say apartment. It's apartment.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we don't.
Kindergarten is a big one. I never say kindergarten because this is wrong. Sorry.
Kindergarten. I say
it's not kindergarten.
It's kindergarten. Kindergarten. That's Michigan. And then let's see. Grand Rapids. Okay, so we don't say Grand Rapids. It's Grand Rapids. Every time.
As
Grand
it's spelled there. GRRAPIDS.
Yeah, native Michigan speaker doesn't say Grand Rapids. It's way too much work, people. Our lips will freeze together. It's Grand Rapids. Okay? So you can go down this, but this is absolutely hilarious. So this is...
Yeah, R's are always hard and sound like a growl to a lot of people. Just think of a pirate. R.
Yeah, we're
rhotic accent.
Yep, there you go.
Kmart.
Kmart. That's right. R.
Walmart.
Unique words and phrases. We got to do this, guys. Hang on, panel. We'll be done with this thought in just a minute here.
We could do the pronunciations there too.
Okay, go ahead.
Just up at the top, one left, because these are words that are unique to Michigan. These are pronunciation examples.
Accident. Yeah, we don't say accident. It's accident. Ann Arbor.
Both. That's one that I hear all the time.
Both. Yeah, we put an L in there. Charlotte. Charlotte's a town in Michigan. We have cities. We don't have cities. We have cities. We have clothes instead of clothes. I don't even know how to say that. Comfortable. We don't say comfortable. We say comfortable or comfortable. Comfortable. I can't say it now. Congress.
Crayons.
Come here. Crayons. Yeah, crayons.
That's a technical recall term in dog training. Come here.
Come here. Detroit. Yeah, we don't say, see, here's an example of not having to stop the T at the end. We don't say Detroit. We say Detroit. And you stop in the back of your throat.
Yeah, so there, fire. 2 syllables. Not all American accents have 2-syllable fire.
Yeah, we're doing it right.
Here you go, forever. We don't say forever, we say forever. So all these things, we leave letters out terribly just because our lips will freeze together. That's the deal here, guys.
Kitty corner.
Oh, look at they screwed up. They said Michigander. That's a nod to Karen. No, or they see.
Who knows where it comes from? Yes.
Yeah,
that's right. I can tell you where it comes from. It comes from Congress.
Congress.
Because it didn't come from the positive historical memory of Michiganians.
Yeah, so there's all of these things here that we say everything wrong. I'll put it in the chat here. Y'all can look at it and laugh because it's just the way it is, you know. And don't ever say soda around me if you're from Michigan. It's pop.
Yeah.
You know,
It is actually
I
a Michigan thing from Fago.
Yeah. So, well, guys, any last words here? I'm going to bring my panelists on. We've got Christina, Casey, Hollis, and Dan here. Are you guys ready? Thumbs up or something. Okay. There we go. We're all set and ready to go.
Dr. David gives a thumbs up. We don't have thumbs.
Yeah, we have thumbs. Remember, we're the only ones with hands. We do.
I just got a sandwich.
Yeah. Karen,
we have real hands.
Here,
My
look, I
finger.
can bring Karen out there with hands. There's Karen with hands. She's doing the heart hands right there. Other than that, it's David and I, the only ones with hands on Off the Grid here. So thanks for coming on today, guys. I'm going to quick play the intro, and I'm going to bring on our next panelist, the citizen journalist from Turning Point Action that I'm absolutely fell in love with this past weekend. I'm going to tell you what, talk about some amazing people who actually are doing real journalism, not fake news, not the fake news crap that's out there, you know, bending our ears all the time. Remember, don't jump to conclusions on some of this stuff that's out there because there's a lot of it. Like I'm holding my opinion on Frisky, and then there's another one that got cuffed this weekend that I can't say too much about it yet because we're waiting for the police report that I know happened locally, but kind of shocking. I'm going to tell you that. So I'll be figuring it out, stepping away from the crazy people because I talk to everybody. It's, you know, we're going to sort them out, guys.
Wow. Awesome. You do a great job, Donna. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, guys do too. Love you guys a lot, and we'll see you next Friday on Off the Grid. Have a great day, guys.
We'll stick to topic unless something big happens.
unless a squirrel goes past us, and then we go in 100 different ways, right?
Exactly.
So I'm on next with Christina, Casey, Hollis, and Dan. We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg, and it's the 21st day of June, 2024. And I'm going to welcome my wonderful guests on. So I'm excited about this. Hey, guys, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Welcome this morning. This is fantastic. We had such a nice time this weekend, everybody, and I want to let everybody introduce themselves a little bit and your shows that you have on. I had a riot meeting you guys. I got to tell you, you were my hands down. You were my favorite people of the weekend.
That's great. I'm kind of partial to you as well.
Thank you. So where we want to go with this, because I really thought it would be a great idea. Oh, let's see. We've got, oh, there we go. Allison, Dan are on.
See the pretty one.
What's that?
We gotta get the pretty one on camera. You don't want to see me. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Dan married up.
Yes.
All guys like to hear that. So I'm hoping that that Joshua can join here. We've got enough slots here. Let me see if I can get a hold of them a minute. Where do you guys want to go this weekend? I think what would be great is maybe start going around the room here a little bit and everybody give your opinions on what you saw at Turning Point this past weekend and what's been going on this last week. You want to start, Christina?
Absolutely. My name is Christina Holbrook. I am an independent journalist. I am found on social media through Thought Criminals, the handle Thought Criminals. Remember that. It's going to be very important later. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. There's not anything really different about me than anybody else on the panel. I have a love for making our nation great and getting rid of the corruption in our politics so that we can live as God intended. This weekend was great for me. I met so many people. I talk so much, my jaw hurt, and that's odd for me because I talk a lot anyways. But this group was most definitely, of all the people I met, my favorite. A lot of individual views that align with each other, and that's always positive. So this weekend was great just to be around people that believed and wanted the same thing that I do and are willing to speak up in a verbal and physical manner if that is what it takes.
Going for truth. Casey.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, and thank you, Christina, for the assistance after the event. That was pretty funny, actually. And the group picture outside on top of the parking garage was really great. It was wonderful to meet everybody. I love you guys. It was just organic and real, and it was great. You can't recreate that. So it was really unique and special, and so I'll never forget it. And I look forward to working with everyone in the future. So, but my name is Casey Whalen. I'm an independent journalist up here in North Idaho, and started out as an activist, and over the years became an independent journalist as I found that was the main way to cut through the lies and get to the truth and expose that to the public. So I've been doing a lot of public records requests all over the nation, and I want to encourage other people and teach other people how to do that because it has a great impact in your local community and it will change. It will fight the corruption single-handedly without you having to add anything to it. Just by putting public records out in the ether, you will change your community. So that's what I'm very passionate about. I've been doing interviews, etc., and just being part of Media Row along with the People's Pen was an honor. It was really a lot of fun to hang out with Joel and his daughter and hand out the pen and inform the public as a formula, using the pen as a way to show people how to showcase stories in their community and expose corruption. So it was an honor to meet everybody. Thanks for having me.
Talk about some of the cases and some of the things that you've been working on just shortly here. I'm going to try to pull up that video that I posted on Twitter. That's your work, and I thought this was fun, and I liked your intro. I thought it was really cool. I was like, man, that's a cool intro. So the other cases,
I've done this a lot.
Other cases that you pulled records on and that you've been involved in, Casey.
Other records?
The cases that you pulled on, like you worked with the Bundys and that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other story, and I have a lot of stories. The Ammon Bundy situation, or Ammon Bundy himself and his family. Ammon moved to southern Idaho about, I want to say, 11 years ago, to Emmett, Idaho, and in 2020 he had created a network called People's Rights. The website was peoplesrights.org, and it's now changed, I want to say, to peoplesrights.ws maybe, but you can still find that website, and essentially it was a network that people would join nationally, and how this works is that every state consists of a specific number of areas. Every area is assigned an area assistant, and so if there is an issue with government corruption, we would send out a message to people in a specific area that would consist of a specific number of counties depending on population. And we would let people know, hey, there's an issue with the family, or hey, there's an issue with a government being affected by, or I'm sorry, a business being affected by government. We need people to show up right now at this address. And so that's what we would do throughout COVID. And of course, the state of Idaho hated it. We were showing up at health board meetings, school board meetings, et cetera, just fighting for freedom. And so that's a whole other topic in itself. But through that, we were very effective. It gave people a lot of hope during those years of COVID. So That's one aspect of thing, and I would just help promote information. I would do interviews, film events, that sort of thing, just to get the word out, and it really helped a lot, I think, and looking in hindsight. So that's one swath. That's a whole other topic, like I said, and I just been doing whatever I can do in my community, trying to help other people. I recently interviewed a lady named Sheila Bucher. Her daughter Ann was she was propagandized at a local school, and she thought she was a boy named Felix, a cat. She started cutting herself, tried to commit suicide, and essentially shared her story. It went viral. Libs of TikTok shared it. And so anyways, just working with other independent media outlets in my area organically has had a great effect, and we're running laps around the lamestream media. So sorry to take so long there.
No, that's exactly what I wanted, because I want people to get to know you guys, and to go find your work out there. I'm trying to get one up that I want to show everybody here in a minute. But no, that's exactly what I had in mind. This is your time to talk. So Dan and Hollis, let's tell everybody, introduce yourselves and tell everybody what you guys got going on.
You start.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody, and great to see you all again. We love you all, and I feel like I've seen Casey a lot. He's invited me to go and do some shows with him, so always an honor. Thank you, sir. But we are Voice of the People USA radio network / activist group, started in 2007, and we are out there all over the world, and we're in 98 countries, and 64 million people listen to our stuff. And we had the pleasure of being there for our first ever Media Row appearance, if you will, this past weekend in Detroit, which has been awesome. We got to meet all of you, and it's like literally we got a family immediately, which is so nice and refreshing, and something that I'm sure a few of you can attest to. Starting out as an activist many years ago, there was no camaraderie. It was always, I'm in control. When in reality, it's about we're all fighting the same fight. We should all, be working together collectively to destroy the establishment and the globalist and, the fake news propaganda, which, of course, we deal with quite often. We're from Northern Maine now. I enjoyed you talking about how you speak in Michigan. Try being from New York / Pennsylvania, moving to Maine, where they speak French, Canadian, and Bostonian, and we don't speak like any of it. But nevertheless, we are the enemies of the state already in Maine. We've only been there for 5 months, and we had the first rally after the BS convictions of Donald Trump, and not one media outlet in the entire state of Maine covered us. We come from a corrupt little area where people are coming to us already and telling the outsiders about their stories about people being suicided, murdered, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, things of that nature, and their local officials refuse to do anything to help them, and they're coming to us and the local officials, and the Republican Party in Northern Maine and Aroostook County Republican Party. They're more concerned with working against us and trying to silence us because they don't want these things exposed and light shine on them. And of course, we are going to blow that up in such a beautiful way because we are fearless and we are the media and we don't care. So that's just a quick little shout out. I'll turn you to the better half.
Yeah. Well, everything he said, and when I met him, I loved that he was such a fighter. He exposed corruption. Like, he told me right away all about the things he did in Pennsylvania, because that's where I'm from, obviously. And Kids for Cash, he exposed. He helped bring some of that down. And I was fighting my own. Well, first I'll just say I love you guys. It was awesome meeting you. And like, just that all of us are action. That's what you said. We meet so many people who just talk, or they so sick of it. Comment on Facebook, negative, this, that. But what are you doing? So all of us all have stuff that we were passionate. We gave our whole lives to fighting this fight. So it's so nice to meet action people where we could hop on here and we're all doing something about it. Physically action, doing stuff. So I started to just quickly, I'm a musician and a singer-songwriter, and I had lived in Hollywood for many years. I was in the music industry for most of my life, but obviously I saw the evils and corruptness of it all. It's every, it's all different levels, but it's all part of it, the entertainment industry. So now I went independently and I'm recording my own album and just doing things a different way. But it all stemmed from, I really woke up entrenched in all that evil and stuff. So when I met Dan, he was the voice of the people, and like we got together and I think we helped each other. We brought what was missing. You know, I helped do a lot of the videos. I'm still learning. Casey was awesome this weekend. He's so professional with his camera. So like, you know, it's new when you're trying to do everything yourself, which I am. I'm singing and trying to, you know, just make the whole thing happen. So the video thing was hard for me, but Casey, you helped so much. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, it's really refreshing to meet, you know, people who are doing the same thing. So, and we've dealt with this fake news. It is so bad up in Madawaska and Frenchville, Maine. I just really saw how they are not reporting any. We've written them, you know, emails about us going to the People's Convention and all this big stuff happening. And you would think in a, you know, a town of 2,000 people, it's kind of a big deal, but they just are doing their thing, and it's obvious how fake it is and biased.
You know, it's bad when the Associated Press covers that you're holding the first pro-Trump rally in the country after the convictions. The Associated Press, and they certainly hate me, but they put a story out versus any media in the entire state of Maine. Corrupt propaganda mouthpiece.
Yeah, and he called them out. That's why now everyone hates him, because he actually called out the officials and said that we caught them in a lie. And then, you know.
Well, you got to speak out. I wanted to bring this up. This is Casey's post, Casey_Whalen, WHALEN on X. And I tried to tag you guys on everything that I posted. But this is really nice. And I was so surprised when I opened it up and here I am standing on this. I'm like, wow, that's just really nice. How nice is it? That's really fun.
Here in Detroit, Michigan, reporting for the People's Pen. We're at the People's Convention here, hosted by Turning Point USA. I'm joined by someone from Japan who came over to see Donald Trump, named Takumi. Thank you for joining us today. So,
unlike so many of the Republican meetings that I've gone to, it's actually all about. It was really about getting President Donald J. Trump in, the rightful president of the United States, and staying faithful to you know, walking away from the corrupt establishment. They haven't wanted him in from the beginning, and the Republicans were as bad at the beginning as anyone. They never stood up in Michigan. I'm going to tell you that. So it was fun to be there with people that are go President Trump. I think since Laura Trump has gotten in office for the RNC, that I met with her last week. And I think that we're going to see some big changes there, and I'm pretty encouraged by it. So it's hopefully we're seeing a change out.
And oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine, love. I think what I took away from the People's Convention this weekend was how important it is to get others out to vote, to speak to your families and your friends, and just try to reinforce that you have to vote. A lot of people are running on ego, especially some people in the MAGA movement, thinking that we just got this in the bag. Like, Donald Trump's our next president because we want it to be so. And there's people that rep the merch and they speak all of the language that you and I say, but they don't go vote. And that's a problem, because the only way Donald Trump is going to win is if we vote them in and not just vote him in large numbers, literally, so that they don't have the ability to cheat at this next election. And that's my message that I took from the People's Convention that I will be speaking going forward.
It's our duty. I mean, you know, you can listen to people sad sack all over the place on, oh, you know, we're not going to win, we're blah, blah, blah. I don't really care. I don't care what our feelings are right now, because we're being driven by our feelings, not by the law or by our civic duty. Everyone needs to get out there and stop being butthurt about things not going the way we want it to go, but actually just get out there and do what we're supposed to do, because God honors our actions and he honors our intentions. So the base level is our faith in God is doing what we need to do, whether we're walking in the dark, whether we see whether it's going to win, lose, or draw. It's dependent on us doing what we're supposed to do, period. End of story. Everybody needs to get out there and vote. And I think there's so much surveillance that was created against us that all the good guys are using against the bad guys, that the warning is to anybody out there this time around that's going to cheat, we know what to look for. And I would suggest you make better life choices, because it's not going to end well to the cheaters. But I'm going to call Joshua a minute. If you guys want to talk amongst yourselves a minute, I'll be right back. I'll see if I can get him to join.
Casey, I love that video that you did. That's because I do it all by myself. That's probably my weakest point, is I can do TikTok videos all day long within their editing software because I'm used to it. But actually doing like the digital aspect of it, I am so lacking. And that is the one thing that is holding me up right now. And if I could take a class somewhere, I would. But I ain't found any for that. So I got a learning curve, I guess you could say, going into the digital editing and that fashion.
Well,
you're pretty good too, Dan. I seen some of your stuff.
Not me, all her.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm with you, girl.
All of us
Listen,
is good.
I understand. It was like the biggest hurdle in my life. Like, not in my life, but you know what I mean? Like learning how to edit. And it took a while. I started on iMovie and then moved, which you might have, I don't know if you have a Mac, and then moved to Final Cut, and just puts like, just by necessity, I was like, I need to learn how to tell the stories, and it opened up the whole world. But once you get into it, it's always hard. I always think it's just scary. Like it's in your mind that you can't do it. But once you start and you could just you get better, and it works. So it's not impossible. Trust me, take it from someone who was like terrified. I don't know, it sounds so dumb, but I was like scared. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then I got better. So you can do it, and I'll help you. You know, any
I'm
advice?
not terrified, but I recognize that is not a strength of mine, and that I need to, in order to progress in the things that I want to do, because I work a lot with children. I'm doing a lot with Venezuelan children and the children that come across here that have been sexually assaulted by our funded NGOs. I do a lot of boots on the ground thing, and I need to be able to put that footage in a seamless line so that someone wants to see it. I'm at the point where, like TikTok, you kind of get stuck making a certain time limit video. You learn what you can say, but I'm trying to expand beyond TikTok and pull my audience with me, because I have a large audience on TikTok, and I'm just stuck on just the digital editing portion of it.
It could be overwhelming, you know, that's why I'm like terrified. It's so overwhelming, you don't know where to start. I had that hurdle. I literally had a block for like a year. I was just like, I don't even know where to start, these plugins and all this stuff. And it gets easier, but you could do it.
You just got to take the step. Are you doing it mostly from your phone right now, Christina, or are you doing it on a computer?
I do all my editing from my phone, but TikTok, I even edit in TikTok for videos for other platforms, just because of how simple it is in TikTok to edit. And they have a large amount of features as far as fonts and different themes and stuff that you can do. So really, everything I need is in the TikTok, and now they have a TikTok studio where you can stream, but I don't want to go live on TikTok anymore. I'm way too censored. I'm highly controversial, so I'm constantly getting shadow banned. So it's just, I need to pull my audience over to where I can give them the knowledge that they need. Now I'm just giving them the surface of it with what I'm allowed to say or I've learned to say on TikTok. Because there's a way to be successful on TikTok and talk a lot of shit. You just have to say it nicely and make them think they like it.
Yeah. Well, the great thing on Brandenburg News Network is this is a zero censorship platform. So you can say whatever you want to say. And I don't take it down. You know, it's like we have to come to grips with some hard realities out there. And this whole cloaking everything that's going on. And I don't know, the word I'm looking for right now is escaping me. But the whole, I don't know, sanitizing. I guess that's the word, sanitizing the truth. So people really don't get what's really going on. And so much of it is there to affect our emotions. Mm-hmm. I have a huge problem with that. I'm a fairly unemotional person as far as, you know, I get really passionate about that. I'll give you that. You know, when I see something that's wrong, you know, I go absolutely Hulk on everybody, right? But the sadness doesn't really, I don't really feel fear or any of that. It's just kind of, it's not there. But when I look at most of the communications, It's about fear. It's about manipulating people. And I don't know. We didn't get to talk. You know, we were all busy. I mean, I know my media area. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4. It was a constant stream, and you know, and I appreciate all you guys. And I think, you know, bringing people to the table that we could talk to, is including yourself and such. I mean, it was really great. It was a really great experience. But you know, we need to get the truth out there and just let people see it, and not tell them what to think, because the minute somebody brings that fear in, or sadness, or this is going to happen, you turn into a horse. Okay. So I like to have horses, and I do horse training. Horses are crazy. Okay. They're absolutely crazy. And they're the most like people of any animal on the planet, because they'll see a chipmunk and, oh my gosh, they'll jump to their death, right? Something that gets way blown out of proportion. And it's kind of funny.
Like liberals.
Yeah. You know, you can get on the crazy path, just sit there and go, huh, well, that's interesting. Like, we just had Neil Frisky today was arrested for allegedly a couple of different crimes, and there was a stripper involved in it and all this other stuff. And I'm like, it's real close to absentee ballots. And so we don't know if this was sort of a honeypot to set him up, if it was a setup, if he actually did something. But the whole state's jumping on and said, like, see, he's a politician, he's a bad guy. Well, I don't know if he's a bad guy or not. I don't even know if this is for real or not. I don't know if the real bad guy sent a stripper to set him up. We don't know anything.
That's true. And they feed us a narrative and expect us to believe it. And now that people are stepping aside, not running on their emotions, and starting to critically think some of these things through, especially the years of lies that we have been through. I used to say, never believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. But we're at a day and age now where you can't really believe anything you hear, and really none of what you see, because now our media is so manipulated. And we can even go as far as it's manipulated to our demographic and what would bring emotional responses out of us. And I thought the media was supposed to, you know, report the news. I find more of my news from people like you guys. They just report what is profitable to them. And that seems to be the underlying situation in all of this is monetary. These people are getting very rich, and we are getting very poor off of their corruption.
Well, here's a great example that happened to me, Gateway Pundit. You know, everybody that's conservative runs Gateway Pundit. But I'm going to tell you what, they did irreparable harm to me during my run for governor. And what they did is they came out, and every time they mentioned me, especially at the beginning, it was first mentioning it, and then after that ignoring me. But they called me billionaire Donna Brandenburg. Now, okay, I've had some success in life, but that doesn't mean that I'm Scrooge McDuck sitting on a pile of money, because I'm more likely to give it to somebody that needs it, because I know how to make money. But that doesn't mean that I'm sitting at. But it was billionaire Donna Brandenburg. Well, the whole state was like, oh, she's one of them. Right. And then after that, nobody would help me financially. And, you know, it's like we ended up having to sell one of our companies because we were attacked, and people have no idea how attacked we are. We have a large rail facility, which is sitting on the UP's main line, which is BlackRock. And they refused. They were doing all kinds of things, including one of the situations is they weren't going to deliver rail cars to us, blah, 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 blah. But the amount of cars that we had delivered went down to approximately 3% of our normal traffic in there. And this is the first time I've ever mentioned this on camera, but that's the truth. And then another part of it was our fees were upped, and we were being charged 4 times what they were trying to absolutely hamstring us financially. But then going back to Gateway Pundit, they never apologized to it. They never retracted it. They said it, they just threw it out there. So you have to go back and now you have to go back. I question every single thing coming out of Gateway Pundit.
They suck. Gateway Pundit sucks. Unfortunately, they try to act like they're this independent, non-biased, whatever, or conservative bias. They're a bunch of jokes. They're half a damn psyop. And, to your point, Christina, about, like the media and everything else. I mean, let's face it, the media has been controlled since the 50s with Operation Mockingbird. MK Ultra now is done on a grand scale, using our phones, using our social media. It's not a secret what they do. And, and then jumping back, Donna, I mean, they call you billionaire like as if it's a bad thing, but then they claim to support billionaire Donald J. Trump. So you see, they like who they think will put them in the best position to be helped, and they don't give a damn. Yes,
Well,
they don't give a
knew-
damn about
and
real
they know
people.
that I came right out from the beginning, and I said, because I got asked to run, it never was in my purview to be governor. I hated every one of them, both sides, because they're all lying. It was like they're all liars, cheats, and thieves. And I never wanted to be part of it. I never went to any political event. I met John Engler, past governor of Michigan, last night, and he was like, so you've never been involved in anything? He goes, how did you ever think you were going to win? I said, I was asked to run. I respect the entity that asked me to run. I decided they laid their lives on the line. I guess it's time for me to do it too. And maybe there's a reason why they think that I should run, right? But I guess I don't know. The whole thing is so rigged. The whole system is so rigged for them choosing. They select candidates, and unless you are controllable by them, where you'll bite on the money, you'll bite on the things they put in front of you, they want people that are willing to take those 30 pieces of silver to betray this nation and to betray God and God's children. That's who they want.
Yeah, it's like a foreign concept to them to think that there's just someone with a good heart who actually has passion, is doing it for the right reason. Like, that's not heard to them. He just happened to. Yeah, go ahead.
Someone's morals that aren't for sale.
Yeah, it just happened to him in the town manager. Like, he couldn't run for it in Madawaska, and everyone was telling him he's new to the town. You could obviously see his passion, voice of the people, and the town is falling apart. It's a joke. And all the people were saying, Dan, you should apply for the town manager. And so he did. And then what happened?
Oh, yeah, they fuck you over because you're not one of them.
Yeah.
I said, first off, you have an elected leader of the town that's not elected, is selected. And they pay $115,000 a year in a town of 8,000 people. But the last city I lived in Pennsylvania had a population of over 100,000, and the elected mayor makes 55,000. And I was going to come in, work for free, give that money back to the town, bring in businesses, expose the millions of dollars that have gone missing in corruption, and then bring in the charter, which would cost nothing. So in 3 years, the people could actually elect their own mayor. They don't like that, and they chastise you, and they demonize you, and it's Republicans doing it. And I wanted to say, Donna, honestly, you're just class and badass, like, combined, which is so awesome about you. I had no idea that you were worth money, because I don't look at you and say, there's somebody hoity-toity. I saw somebody literally doing exactly what we're all doing. And hey, I work a good job remotely, but altogether, it's like, we're broke as shit doing what we're doing. We're fighting and going out. So you have money. We don't have a lot of money.
Well,
who the hell cares?
You're assuming that, though. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
Like,
and that's the thing. Why would anybody make the assumption? Who the hell cares? You should, first off, if you have successes in your life, that's badass, and people should acknowledge that, but they don't want to talk about that. I wouldn't know from night or day if you're rich, not rich. Who cares? Because you're one of the regular people just like us out there busting your ass and doing what needs to be done. Like, I'm sure Casey's not worth millions. I'm sure, we're not worth millions. Who cares?
But if you have money, it's good, because we need money to do this. For people, people love Trump because he has money. He's the one person who has a chance, because you need money to fight these assholes. Like, I wish we had money, because we would be putting it all into doing something good with your money. It's great to have money. I'm always, money is great. It's a resource, and you're using for something good to do it. You need money to do what we do, and you still do it despite. But if you have it, it's a good thing.
It's an American caste system, alive and well, that only the ones with money that are allowed to be in the game will control the game. And the rest of us can fuck right off. They don't like it. Bow down, bend a knee to the scumbags in power. And, we all say, right there. And we don't give a shit. So I commend you, and I say good for you. And I hope you continue to run and continue to fight, because we need people like you to fight. We need people like, I can't wait. Like, I'm actually excited to go to Northern Idaho because I want to go where Casey is, but I can't wait to see his area because his area is probably going to be a lot like my area. I want to get you all, we're in Illinois. I can't show you right now, but like, I want to get you all up to Maine too. And I want to go to New Mexico.
We need your help in Maine. There's so many.
It's a coalition of us.
It's so corrupt. It's so corrupt.
It takes regular freaking people, you know?
I think the strength here, and I've said this from the beginning, we can't outspend them, but we can outwork them if we get together. That's the only way, because there's a dual economy here. You know, like I'm a CEO, I look at a lot of financial type stuff, right? And there's a dual economy. We never see that, okay? No matter how successful you think you are, we are about 1% of what they are, no matter what, because they own everything. They don't need the money, right? Mm-hmm. And so any metric that you think, they've got a completely separate system that we never see. And that's the way it is. But what we can do, and when I ran my campaign, I ran it in a way that I'm like, I'm not going to, and everybody thought I was absolutely nuts. And I got a lot of criticism for it. They said, you know, well, you're doing everything wrong. And I'm like, perfect. And it was like, I'm going to run it the way it should be run, not the way that it's currently being run. Never took any DART money, PAC money. I took a little bit of donations from supporters. But I funded 98% of everything, and I lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And
I fund everything I do. I fund myself. And right now, my job is, I'm an independent contractor, a general contractor. So my job is directly affected by how much people have to spend on money. So if you don't have any money, you're not going to paint your house or build a deck. So it seems like that trickles down, and we're a large portion of the economy that isn't doing well because other people aren't doing well. So I literally do it. If I want to do something like I wanted to do this past weekend, then the money I made from that job went to this, you know, me going to the People's Convention. It should have went to my, you know, past electric bill and water bill, but we have sacrifices, like their consequences, the consequences of all their corruption and their actions are going to require sacrifices from us. And too few people are willing to do that, to look outside of being happy with their family and see the other people struggling. Yeah. And once you can open up your eyes and see, you know, and be in other people's shoes, then you're always going to be the person that sits on the couch and does nothing but bitch and complain about shit they ain't willing to change.
Yep.
Well said.
We've been fighting, you know, I've been fighting out there since 2007 in the streets. And I'll tell you, like I said, this is the most hopeful I've been. And it starts with all people like you. But again, that's why, you know, I got to cut things like the interview like we did with Casey. But like there's somebody too, like not only activists, but also doing the other end of this, doing like hard reporting, investigative and educating people. And that's why like you're all badasses, but like, you know, what Casey's doing is so important. Donna, what you're doing is so important. Christina, you know, like we all are a part of this, and we have to be fearless, bold, and keep pushing back and say, fuck the system and the establishment regardless. Go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, I had a question for you actually, Dan. When you ran for city manager, did you of course join the Rotary and the Chamber of Commerce, right?
Oh, well, that's funny. Well, I joined the Lions Club, the Knights of Columbus. No, I'm kidding. Fuck them.
No, he didn't.
No. What's funny though is before we moved to Maine, right? We came up to close in the house, and we were, 12 hours away. And the Chamber of Commerce wanted to hire an executive director for, their office. Somebody that could bring passion, bring about change, and it's a paid position. And I'm thinking it's a part-time little job, whatever. I have my full-time career job. I said, I'm going to interview just to see what happens. I figured a good way to get, to know people in the community quickly. So they offered me the position. I quit after 2.5 months because it was the most disgusting, sickening thing I've ever seen in my life. And I told them as such. But in doing so, all the business owners are the ones that said, we need you for, city manager. We need you for city manager. You need to run. You need to run. You need to do it. You need this, that. So long story short.
Don't run. You can't run.
Yeah. So fuck all those establishments, Casey. And now one of the One of the many businesses that we actually have, and we're going to launch soon, is something called Voice of Business, like an independent, like true different chamber of commerce that isn't just a satanic globalist lobbyist shill group. So it's one of the many things that we're going to do, because when you see something change it, Christina, like you said, when good people do nothing, evil triumphs. Our enemies in this world are 100 years ahead of us. And people who we think, and I've seen so many people, and they're good people, but like regular people that came flooding over to us at People's Convention. Have you heard about Convention of States? Yes, I've heard about Convention of States. Have you heard about how they're also financed by Soros money as well? That's not true. Yes, it is, because they fund both sides. You have to be cognizant and do a little bit of research, like Donna, Casey, because we all know, like, we have to do it ourselves and lead people the right way. When I was holding rallies, over 300 rallies, 28 states, and took no money from anybody, right? 2010, all of them reaching out to me from the Tea Party. Oh, how are you doing what you're doing? We want to do it. We want to do it. I'm helping them out because I'm thinking, good, more activism is a beautiful thing. Come to the launch of the Tea Parties. You're not welcome at a Tea Party event. We're doing our thing. And you magically have $100 million in a kitty. And I told everybody they're fucking evil. You're jealous. Jealous of what? They're taking it, and what pissed me off is not because of their financing, because they were taking advantage of people's passion and their fears, and they were manipulating it. And what did they change? John Boehner, I'm a Tea Party guy now. Hell, I think even dipshit McCain probably said it at one point. Like, and
child
people
trafficker McCain.
Yes.
They were. What he is, he was a child trafficker.
Yes,
a disgrace to this
pedophile,
nation.
Disgrace to the uniform scum. May he burn in hell. But all of them, they're just evil. So now here we are years later. And again, everybody thinks Donald Trump's going to do it all himself. No, we have to do our part on the ground and cover every damn aspect of it. Yep. That's why what each of us do, even if we're doing similar things, especially working together, it's so important, because we're the ones not looking to deceive people, take from people. We're looking to beat these bastards and send them back to hell.
Hey, Dan, could you try that again with a little passion?
I could work on it.
Excuse me. Because you mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. Well, it was literally the day he left the Chamber of Commerce. I was like, well, having action, right? So I was like, let's do something. That's the day he left. I was like, let's set up an event ourselves and talk about this stuff for people who want real change, people were complaining about businesses and all this stuff. And we set up the event that day, but it ended up being kind of a disaster because the people who claimed to want it all shut us down. And
I'm going to tell you right now,
it's ridiculous. It was really disgusting.
Well, every news entity in Maine, WAGM, WFK-TV, and again the Aroostook County Republican Party, and the Trump-endorsed candidate Austin Terrio. I don't know, he's some schmuck that drove in circles in NASCAR, and he's like, I have Trump's endorsement because you're the only one running.
He didn't come
to the event, and people will say, well, you're going to hurt his chances. Good. I want to, because they're fake fucks, and I don't give a shit.
And there are two people
doing it. Yeah, well, I've never seen President Trump make a good endorsement. I know. And I'm going to say that right now, when he endorses someone or somebody's standing with him in an endorsement of any type whatsoever, he's pointing out corruption. He knows what he's doing. Okay. Yep. He knows he's not a dumb guy. He's a really smart guy. Right. And he's so smart that he knows exactly how to out them to other smart people to get them to dig. When he endorses someone, we're supposed to look at those people and go, oh, wait a minute, time out. What are we supposed to be looking for here that shows what the corruption that they're tied in with? Because I've never seen him make one truly good endorsement. Not one.
But they're slim pickings, It's probably how often he should endorse Dan. He should endorse us because we're fighting. We're the people. We can't be bought. I'm
glad he hasn't, because I don't want to stand with that group of morons.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, but you know what I mean. Like,
I'm gonna say it right now because this is gonna be a summer and a fall of a lot of action, but. At some point in August, we're going to have a date set up here in the next week. We're going to hold a big event in West Virginia. We're going to have a big outdoor rally, and it's going to be tens of thousands of passionate freaking people. And Governor Justice, I knew him before when he was just running car dealerships, and I like him. And he said he's more than happy to come speak. I want to invite you all to come. I want us all to be there, to be a part of it, all of you. And Casey, I will come to Idaho and drag your ass across the country. I'll drive you. It's okay. I don't mind. But I would love to do that. And, and that's coming. So maybe we'll announce the date next week if you want, Donna. We want to make this happen, and we're going to.
We'll do it at a time. Make sure we could all go there.
Yes.
We'll check the date. Make sure.
We'll make sure it works for everybody. We're going to rock it with a bunch of passionate, crazy-ass people that are good people that actually give a shit, and they're fighters. They need to be a little bit more educated on some of the globalist stuff. I love my West Virginians. I lived there for 3 years, and they're like, I talk to them about a globalist, like, I don't know about that. Let's go kill them. It's like, all right, drag it back just a little bit, but you give them a Mountain Dew, they'll go anywhere. I just got to offer a case of Dew. They'll come up to Northern Maine and kick some ass for us. I
need to see what Tom DeWeese is doing at the American Policy Center. I'm sure he would
be amazing. And so that's the invite out to you all. And we also want to get you obviously on the network. We have so much shit going on there, but I do want to say that this is a shameless plug, Donna. I'm sorry.
We're excited. We got great news came out of the convention.
Mike it's the great news after meeting all of you, and I mean that sincerely, but Mike Lindell knows how to endorse right. Because now if you go to mypillow.com/VOPUSA, promo code VOPUSA, you can get awesome discounts at mypillow.com. Thank you, Mike Lindell.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
Sorry, I never plug.
It's our first one.
I'll probably do one
This is
too.
the place to do that. I love it.
What's the
It's
code?
the first one we ever had.
What's the
Like-
code? VOP or something?
VOPUSA. We can send you. They sent us memes with Mike Lindell and the VOPUSA on. We got a 1-800 number, the website. Go for great stuff. They're sending us a whole bunch of free shit, dude, so we can try it out. Like we're not. I have like 1 million affiliate and sponsor
Where's the
things,
lower
right?
third? Come on, get your stuff together here.
I know people that try to do that with me, but I don't trust anybody right now.
I know.
Yeah,
Well, Lindell, I try. See, and I will say, there's a dude who spent at this point probably tens of millions of dollars to try to save this country. And there's a great friggin' dude. First off, he's funny and his whole history is hilarious, but that guy has probably spent $20 million plus to try to unfuck the elections, the LindellBland.com.
And they did it to him, right? They stopped promoting his pillow company as much when he started talking. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
So now he is asking for money. And so it's good. So if you buy a pillow, it goes to his company. He's doing, like you said, he's doing something good with his money. Thank God. You know what I mean?
I was at the Cyber Symposium in 2022 in Sioux Falls with the New American Magazine, and they were going to release some information about the elections that were going to prove there was fraud, but they were afraid of getting the FBI was about ready to join the party, let's say, and so they didn't release that info. So the guy's really put his neck out there, and he needs to be commended.
Damn straight. So he's a good one, Christine.
They bankrupted him. They did. I've had my pillow for like 7 years, so I definitely
need a new one.
We'll hook you up.
They're amazing, but I just don't. It's a hard time knowing who to trust these days, and some sponsorships you get, they don't allow you to say what you want. Like, oh, we'll sponsor you, but you can't say this, this, and this. Well, that's not a sponsor to me. That's censorship.
That's a handle.
Well, I got it.
I'm not going to take your money.
You guys can maybe help me with this, because when we were at the TPA thing, one of my supporters went and talked to Pat Colbeck here in the state of Michigan, who stands with him, and said, "Hey, we need to get Lindell over to speak on Donna's network?" And Colbeck said to them, "That ain't going to happen."
What?
Yeah.
Well, we have a cell phone now. Damn it! We'll call him and say why. No.
Yeah. And so the whole thing, I had another. So I'll never be paid enough to not tell exactly what happened. I had another gal that came over and wanted me to sign the petition on her little thing to promise to be against term limits, and she was she's a convention of states person, and so when we listen to all of these things that they try to get us to, and I debated her for a while. And she wasn't giving it up. And I said, we have a crisis in this country of lack of morality. We touch that Constitution and we're dead. And it's like, this is supported by some very bad people. And they're actors. It's like, and I'm not going to make any bones about this. Convention of States is, or, a constitutional convention of any type, would be the stupidest thing that we could do. There was another gal there who's behind Axe My Tax in the state of Michigan.
We met her, yeah.
Yeah, flat out lied to everybody in the Constitution Party, because I'm the first vice chair of that. and we had to shut her down a little bit. And while she was sitting there talking to everybody and telling us how great thou art that she was, I got on my phone and looked up, she came as Pollyanna. I've never been involved in politics. And within 2 minutes of her starting to talk, we found 3 pages of political contributions plus $60,000 in debt over taxes that are unpaid and such. So I think that we need to be very careful on who we follow. And I published the donations that this person who Pollyanna asked. So I've never been involved in politics before. I just decided to do this. This is a bunch of horse shit. And I have I heard it. I shovel lots of manure. Okay. I'm great at spotting that sort of thing. Right. And it's like, people, we've got to be a lot smarter at being able to sort through this, because when they come to you as a headline, and this is how all of the amendments got passed in the last election here, because our board of elections is corrupt as hell. So is the the whole group of them has usurped their delegated authority. They violated their oaths of office. And we're going to have to get to the point where whenever somebody comes to us, and I'm saying include me, right? I include all of us. We should all be questioned. Nobody should be above being questioned, because that's how we got into this mess in the first place. I'm encouraging people to question things, all things, because we have to be learning to think for ourselves and go down those deep digs to find out who is behind this. Who is behind this, and who are people standing with? What are the connections there? Well, I'm going to tell you, I talk to everyone because I want to know if there's good people that have been threatened, coerced, and that they were threatened by there's a lot of people in office that have been threatened and coerced. Their families have been threatened. And just like General Flynn's a friend of mine. And they have been terribly threatened and coerced, and they use families, they use all sorts of things, and to compromise people. They're looking for a way out. And if they're willing to step away from this, not that I think it's okay to be threatened or coerced, because I mean, somebody came to me with a gun at my head, I'm like, shoot away. I get across the finish line quicker. I'm ready to see God. I'm okay with it.
Willing to die for the cause.
I'll die for the cause.
Amen.
But that doesn't mean that everybody is like that. And some people will protect. And we've proven with all the research that's come out of my channel with Bob Terry, they're rigging these elections at the Microsoft GitHub, the Microsoft level. All of these things, we already laid this all out, and how they've spilled the source code out to all hackers, states, to the state level hacking groups, the whole 10 yards. It's all out there. They can come into your computer, any device, leave no footprint, and leave, plant stuff, leave, and you will never see the footprint of how they got in and they left, because they have the source code. They can do this. It doesn't matter. So when we see that somebody's done something, or the whole United States is jumping on somebody and saying, oh, look, they're a pedophile. You don't know. It's hearsay at this point in time. And we don't know, with all the deep fakes out there, there's so much we don't know, that right now, quite honestly, unless this whole electronic grid is taken down, we're not going to stop it. I've been praying for this thing to go to crashing down. I hope they EMP our asses from here to the end of the world, because this is going to have to be brought down. And you know what? We're smart enough to be able to get around it. If the communication grids go down or the electrical grid goes down, it's okay. We'll get together. It's not going to hurt us. It's going to absolutely annihilate the bad guys. And we have to be willing to walk that hard path to give something back to the posterity. Is it going to be easy? No. Did we sign up for easy? No. We signed up to walk through this life with God and do what it is that He asks us to do, with no conditions upon that. And we're willing to do that.
Amen.
That's a sacrifice. That's the sacrifice that we will give. We will sacrifice. If I say burn this whole thing down and start over. That's my thought. I've always felt like that. I've had dreams when I was much younger. I used to tell my mom that I'm realizing now. I told her one time, I think it was 4, that there would come a time when families, in order to survive, would have to live together. And I think we are most definitely on track to that with the inflation that we have. And I mean, we are in a recession, and hyperinflation is right down the road. So what we have built up has been so fragile. It's a glass ball of lies and enrichment of the people that feel like they are somewhat better than, you know, us lower class. But the problem that we have with our election system is we can't get normal people in there because of the monetary confinements, and they'll take you straight out if they don't like you. So someone that would be best fit to run for the presidency, because Donald Trump only has 4 years and he's already told us what he's going to do. We need to be focusing on continuing this movement, because what Joe Biden has done to our country will take us decades to fix. But we don't have the monetary system to put the best person in there. So we get stuck with a selection of their choices. I never liked Donald Trump. I thought he was a narcissist until I started to see what they was doing to him. And then that's when I started to get in politics, because if you're going to go after someone, there is a reason. I've been in that position. And I started to look at some of his policies and stuff that he was doing. And I agree now 100% that Donald Trump is the best for the next 4 years of our country. And I think we need to move away from having career politicians running. And it needs to go to the people, because the people, Donald Trump is not going to save the United States. It's going to be the people. We have to put the action behind us so that we can vote him in. And then we have to continue that action in Congress, in our individual cities. This is not something that Donald Trump can fix himself. It has to be us. And we have to put the action behind it. Otherwise, you know, we're no better than the left.
This is amazing that when you talked about that, but I saw when I was under 5 years old, God was showing me stuff that we would be in a huge war. And I still remember to this day that what I saw, and that God literally showed me what the future was going to look like. So I feel like that truly I was born for a time such as this, because I saw what the future is going to look like. And Casey, I'm going to give you a chance to talk. You've been really, really quiet and patient because you got champion visitors here.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the conversation and just listening. So I don't really have anything to necessarily add on this topic, just kind of listening. So just maybe delineate a little bit. I wanted to offer people that are watching this, if you're interested in the People's Pen that we've kind of talked about a little bit, you can shoot me an email. The first 2 people that send me an email will receive a copy of the People's Pen here. This is an issue that I'm in, and I interviewed Ben Garrison. And so my long form interview, I did like an hour-long interview with him in Kalispell, Montana. And he's currently, I can't really talk about it, but he's dealing with some health issues. So if people could pray for Ben, that would be great. And you can go to Graphics, GRRR Graphics, I believe, .com, and check out Ben's website and his artwork. Really, he's a national treasure.
Agreed. I love him.
And the People's Pen is better than the Epoch Times. And I just wanted to say before that, you know, first off, I love you, Casey. And I just want to say no Obama in 28. And when I say no Obama, I'm referring to Vivek. MAGA Obama is not cool with me. Okay. Or Mike Obama. But nevertheless, I'm just throwing that out there. But yes.
I haven't formed my opinion yet on Vivek. I generally don't form my opinion that quickly, and especially not based on what other people think. So I'm I'm a wait and see kind of person. I believe that things that are done in the dark will come to light. So if you're part of that light, then that comes out too. So I will give Vivek, as I do everybody else, the benefit of the doubt.
Which is fair, but he can never escape the WEF website and being a sponsored fellow of Klaus Schwab. And if Trump's bringing him close, then there's a reason for it. And we know what Vivek did right there at the end of his little, doomed to be failed election cycle. So,
He manipulated that woman.
Yes.
Did you guys see that video? Have you all seen that video? He manipulated a woman based on her feelings to not vote for Donald Trump and vote for him.
Yes.
And you could tell the woman was uncomfortable. And I'm like, whoa, he's getting desperate.
So he's, to me, he's always going to be a Klaus Schwab, Soros, and Pharma shill. But that's just me. I'm sorry.
He's actually from Cincinnati. He went to college at St. Xavier, right down the road. And the scholarship that he got that everyone said was from Soros or Soros backed, that scholarship is given primarily on merit. And a lot of people apply for that scholarship. I don't think that that was something where they targeted Viet Nam and decided he was going to be Soros funded, because the scholarship, I mean, my daughter applied for it. So,
well, it's not so much the scholarship. It's more the Klaus Schwab fellowship. And that one,
that's a little disturbing. Anytime you hear Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates or Soros or any of the BlackRock, any of that, you're always like, maybe I should.
When they die, I'm going to have a massive party. I don't pray for my enemies. I say fuck the enemies.
I forgot to mention, if anybody out there wants a copy of the People's Pen, my email address is
I was like, he's not going to tell his email?
North Idaho Exposed at protonmail.com. North Idaho Exposed at protonmail.com. So the first 2 people that email me, I'll send you a copy of the People's Pen here. So that's
okay. So this is really fun. So I'm wondering if we want to do this on Fridays at 10 o'clock and talk about what we're working on. And I will show you guys how to share your screen. And so you can share your screens and show what you're working on a little bit, so that we can help get this message out a little bit more and such. And what were you working on this week, Casey?
Oh gosh, I have a lot of where I live, I'm working on. So we have, I'm sure you heard about the 31 members of Patriot Front that were arrested on June 11th. Or they were charged with conspiracy to riot for trying to attend a Pride in the Park event here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho on June 11th, 2022. And so I've been following the case here locally. The courthouse is literally blocks from where I'm at, so it's perfect. I've been following Thomas Rousseau. He's the leader of Patriot Front. I've been following his case. Essentially, the city of Coeur d'Alene was found guilty by the Judge Mitchell after the state did not give the defense in Richard Jessup and Thomas Rousseau's cases evidence, basically. So they violated Brady. They did not give them 3.5 terabytes of information. There's a lot of funny business with the cell phones that were acquired by the Patriot Front members, and some sort of cover-up by our local GOJ, AUSA Tracy Whalen. So I've been trying to expose this. So the judge found that the city violated Brady and dismissed these 2 cases under prosecutorial misconduct. So I've been covering that, and essentially there is an agenda by the FBI and DOJ. They were trying to capitalize on the arrest of these 31 Patriot Front members, and they screwed it up. So it's I would say a win for liberty, essentially. Now we're waiting to see if Thomas Rousseau and Richard Jessup, now that they have standing after the state tried to appeal these 2 cases, and I don't think they will be successful on. One of them they were not successful on. We're still waiting to find out if in Thomas Rousseau's case, if that will be, if the judge will dismiss that appeal. But it looks like that's going to be the case. And then these 2 gentlemen will have standing and hopefully sue the state of Idaho and the city of Coeur d'Alene for violating their rights. So that's it. And that's one of the things in a nutshell.
There you go. How about you, Christina?
This week I am working on fundraising. I am volunteering in to help with the wildfires in New Mexico, just like I did with the Texas wildfires. So I am raising funds for to go down there and then to bring supplies. There are a few of us that are working on it. And if anybody would like to donate, my Cash App as well as my Venmo and PayPal is Thought Criminals, all one word. We use it basically expenses, hotels, and then a lot of the times when we get down there, like in Texas, we spent $1,100 of donations on wheelbarrows, feed for the farmers. And I'm also working on, me and my buddy Sean Starry, we investigated the Texas wildfires because we know that they did not start from a down telephone pole. And there were really nobody else out there investigating with us. And funny story, the FBI followed us. Someone slipped an iPod tag on me when I was in Lubbock, Texas, and which I didn't find out about until I got to Albuquerque. We got soil samples. Nobody in the United States, once they found out the samples came from Texas, would test the soil samples for us. But now we know who and what started the Texas wildfires, and that documentary will be out at the end of September.
Wow. How about you, Hollis and Dan?
Well, we actually haven't been home. As you see, we're kind of in the hotel here, but since the convention, we've been traveling. I was working on my music. I was in Pennsylvania working on the album, some songs about these issues I'm going to be dropping, and we're planning some videos. And then to get all of our equipment still in a box. So we want to get all the interviews and all the stuff, but most of our stuff's at home. So we're working on getting all that stuff together and all the interviews and getting them up and the audio synced and all this stuff. And Casey's helping with that. Thank you, Casey. So
and the connections that we're making, and we're going to be adding a lot of new shows to the Voice of the People USA Radio Network, which is really awesome. I won't go into it now, I guess. I don't know, but we're so excited, and obviously, we want all of you on there too. It's all about helping each other out and promoting freedom and promoting the free thinkers. So we're really building that. We're going to be hammering down that date for West Virginia. We're still looking in to see if we could find a way to go outside the Republican National Convention, because God help regular people going inside. I don't know.
There may be a way.
I know. So I'm in. We're in. So we're determined, and then we're doing some stuff with Casey tomorrow. Obviously, thank you, sir. As always.
Plug that when you're done.
Yes, please. And so it's just badass. We're going. We're just going to keep going. voiceofthepeopleUSA.org, VOPUSARadio.com, mypillow.com/VOPUSA. Give us $25, please. No, but there's been a lot of stuff going on. We've had a lot of challenges this week. There's been a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hardship and a lot of hurt. But it's about continuing to fight in the face of adversity, which is what we all do. And nothing's going to stop us or take us off our course. We're going to go and continue to fight and bust our asses, and we're not going to stop until the damn job's done. So that's it. Casey, take it away, sir.
All right, so Dan Smariglio, and did I get it? Smariglio.
Got it.
Yes.
Smariglio.
And I will be on Republic Broadcasting Network tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific time on a 2-hour show called Thought Crime Live, and in the second hour,
Thought Crime.
Yep. And so we'll be taking calls the second hour. People can call in at 1-800-313-9443. You can listen live at republicbroadcasting.org. That's republicbroadcasting.org. And then it will be archived in the archives at republicbroadcastingarchives.org. So the first show is Thought Crime Live at 6 a.m. Pacific. The second show we'll be on is called Saturday Snack Shack with Frederick C. Blackburn, also known as BB9. His show is at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And again, this is on republicbroadcasting.org.
Very well.
6
Good.
a.m. Wow.
I had somebody that commented here. It says, "Wow, our television shut off just as you started to speak about the head of the snake being Michigan, and your feed did not come back, but garbled. They really don't want this out," because we were talking about this earlier. They really don't want us talking about why Michigan is so significant. There's every billionaire, true billionaire, crime syndicate member has a place in Upper Michigan.
Absolutely.
And make no mistake, there are so many networks here of people. And the child sex trafficking superhighway is 94 right through the state. And so, we were talking about Interlochen. I put a picture up of Epstein and being in Interlochen in one of the classes. I don't know. Did you guys see that?
I haven't looked yet. I've been so busy.
If it was before you guys got on, let me show this up here a minute, because I I think that this is something that we really need to remember, that nothing is as it seems, but you have to dig for it. So here's a picture of Epstein, and we were on with Off the Grid. Dr. Kent is a doctor, and I said, what stands out here? This is Epstein. What stands out here in this to me is he's not the same age as these guys. Yeah. He's got an adult build. Well, these guys are they're maybe 14 years old. He's got the build of somebody who's maybe 17 or 18. And this is Interlochen, which is a center of arts summer school, which Epstein was up there. And we also have Fox Island and all the islands around Michigan, as well as the globalists that are here. And I really do think, nothing against Interlochen, there's some great people and things happening there. But what we need to talk about really is the infiltration factor into all of these organizations that we have been taught to trust. And we're going to go through all the religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all of them. It's like when we look across the board, look at the infiltration into all the parties. It's not one party, it's them all. And, we need to truly be aware and vigilant and thinking for ourselves as we're moving forward, because it's going to be a tough time, for us to sort through them. But just keep your wits about you. Start praying, because God will tell you exactly what you need to do. Any last words? If you guys have any last words, then what I'm going to do is I always say a prayer at the end. So any last words, and then we're going to go off to our days.
Thank you. We look forward to doing this again.
Yeah. Thank you for having Friday at 10.
Yeah, I think we should do this Fridays at 10 o'clock, and then we can talk about what we're working on and things that we're seeing. And I think this is a great panel, because I think it's fun. What do you think, Casey?
Yeah, absolutely. And people can follow me if you're interested at Casey_Whalen on Twitter. That's WHALEN, Casey_Whalen. My video platform is on Rumble, North Idaho Exposed, and my Substack is caseywhalen.substack.com. Thank you so much for having me on, Donna.
That's great. Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for all of our friends out there that are fighting for your good purposes. And thank you so much that you're leading us every step of the way. Thank you for giving us everything that we need to accomplish the jobs that you put into our heart. And we trust you in all things. We ask your blessings on the rightful President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, General Flynn, Admiral Rogers, and all those people who have gone before, that have laid their life down for this nation because they believed in the freedoms that you have given us. It's not from our government, it's from you, and we acknowledge that. And we want to make sure that you know that we're good with being one nation under you, under God, under you, that we're not God, you are. And we wouldn't want your job, quite honestly. It looks like a pretty tough job to me, but we're thankful that you have never forsaken nor abandoned us, and know that you're good all the time and that you love us, and we can put our trust in you, knowing that you will accomplish everything that you set out and start to do. Our faith is in you and you alone, and we love you so very much. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So there you go, guys. Well, and this is where we go to the part of the show. We go to BrandenburgForGovernor.com, because I am the best non-conceder who has ever not conceded in the history of the United States. And just remember, you're not alone. There's a lot of really good people out there fighting for this nation, fighting for those things that you believe in and that you treasure, God, family, and country, and that sort of thing. And so you're not alone. So God bless you. God bless all those whom you love, and God bless America. If you don't have a good example, be one. That's the only thing that we can do. We can't react to what other people, we can't change what other people do in life, but we can do the right thing in spite of the things going on around us. You don't have to buy into that, and stand strong, because you're never alone. But be that person in wherever you are, with whatever it is that you're involved in, to be that person that has the courage and the guts to do the right thing under all circumstances. And you're a winner. You're always a winner when you go in that direction, despite what anybody says. You're a winner. God knows it, and he's the only opinion that really counts. Have a great day, and we'll see you Monday. Stay on the line a minute, guys, for a second.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.